Hello and welcome to this dose of virtual vitamin Z. As you can see, we are out here in the zoo at the Detroit Zoo, and we are visiting the guanacos and the pronghorns and all the other animals and the local wildlife that visit this place. But today we're going to specifically highlight the guanaco, and his name is Ken. So join us today as you are going to be taking a journey with me, as we also get a chance to talk to Brian, one of our animal care staff's person who takes care of our guanacos. All right, so come join me. Hello out there, and as promised, I am here with Brian, one of our animal care staff. He is part of the mammals team that takes care of a lot of our mammals here at the Detroit Zoo. So we are here in the Pampas area. Now, what does Pampas stand for again, Brian?
Pampas refers to a grassy region in South America.
Okay. And we are actually going to be talking about the guanacos today. Well, our guanaco Ken that is in our care. Now, how long has Ken been living here, and how old is he?
Ken is actually the oldest male guanaco that I could find on record. He's 26 right now.
Okay.
He was born at the Belle Isle Zoo. And he's been here for about 20 years.
About 20 years.
Yep.
That's amazing. So, in that age, are they considered like geriatric? Are they still considered young, youthful?
No, he's generally in the wild, guanacos live to be about 15 to 20.
Okay.
So he's in excess of that right now. So he would be considered a geriatric age.
Okay.
But for his age, he's doing pretty well.
Okay. Now, I know you said a little bit about in the wild they'll live a little bit longer. So compared to their diet in the wild, compared to what they get here, how does that differ, or how's it the same?
Guanacos are generalists. So in the wild, they'll eat any kind of grasses or shrubs they can find, depending on what's available seasonally. Okay. And that's true here as well. Any kind of tree limbs we give them, they like the leaves off of them. He grazes on a lot of grass in the yard. And then we give him a diet that's a grain-based pellet, and we supplement that with different types of hay and fruits and vegetables.
So a lot of fiber.
Yeah,
right?
A lot of fibrous planting material.
Okay.
Yep.
So if they're getting a lot of fiber, I'm going to assume with a lot of fiber comes a lot of waste.
Yes.
Okay.
Guanacos are like all camelid species. They're not a true ruminant, but they have a 3-chambered stomach. Okay. So the first couple of chambers of their stomach, the food's going to go into there first, and it's going to ferment for a while. Okay. And then they'll kind of regurgitate, chew their cud, and then it'll go back down again.
Oh, 3 stomachs. That's pretty amazing.
3 stomachs.
I think sometimes a lot of us hope that we have 3 stomachs so we can store food. So are they storing food similar to camels, or?
It's just that it takes them several more stages to process their food, because a lot of things that they eat don't have a lot of nutrition in them. So that fibrous material is going to ruminate or ferment in those first couple chambers of the stomach. It allows them to get more nutrients out of it.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yep.
So with a lot more nutrients, are they also drinking water? So I know in the habitat we have, is it flowing water that's here?
We've got a flowing water trough in warmer weather that fills up a pool. Okay. They're actually also pretty good swimmers too.
Guanacos are pretty good swimmers.
Yeah, guanacos can swim quite well.
That's pretty cool. And so I know, I'm not sure if I know, but they look similar to me to alpacas and camels. Are they in the same family?
They're in the same family. There's 4 different species that we talk about. Okay. So guanacos and vicuñas are wild species. Okay. And then from each of those, there's been a domesticated version that we have in captivity. So guanacos have been domesticated into llamas. Llamas don't exist in the wild. And vicuñas have been domesticated into alpacas.
So now, a lot of the animals that are in our care, I believe they all have names, correct?
Right.
How did Ken get his name?
I don't know exactly. That happened 26 years ago on Belle Isle. Okay. I don't know.
So
good question.
Can you tell us how any of the other animals may get their names, or how do they choose them?
They're all different ways depending on the situation. So a lot of times keepers will get to pick a name for an animal. Okay. Sometimes we'll do a survey, let the public help choose a name. Sometimes they'll auction off the name. It just depends.
Just depends.
Yep.
That's pretty good to know. And then, do you have a plan to increase the population at the DZ? All of the population is like the least concern in the wild?
Yeah, the least concern in the wild. So there's about 2 million or so left in the wild. Okay. That's a small fraction of historic numbers, but they're still doing quite well. They're listed as a species of least concern. Okay. And so here, no. Ken is our only guanaco. We don't have plans to expand at this point. Okay.
And then I know guanacos are from, you said, South America.
Right.
So really warm weather. We know in Michigan, we don't have warm weather all year round. So how are they adapting to the Michigan weather when it gets really cold out?
Yeah. Well, they're adaptable to a wide variety of different conditions, actually. So Where they're from in South America, mostly it's in Argentina.
Okay.
It's in the Patagonia region. So there's going to be different fluctuations in temperature. It's going to get really cold there. It's generally pretty arid. And so they have this thick woolly coat that you can see on him, and that's going to provide him with all the warmth he needs to get through the winters here, no problem. It's also high in elevation where they live in the wild as well. So guanacos have 4 times as many red blood cells in their blood to help them store and use more oxygen, so where the air is thinner.
The more blood cells, the warmer they are?
That's just a different adaptation. The red blood cells is to help them harvest more oxygen in the higher altitudes.
Okay. And then what threats do they actually face in the wild?
The biggest predator for guanacos in the wild would probably be cougars, also known as a puma or a mountain lion. Depending on where you're at in the range, they may also have jaguars or wolves, depending on where they are. But like at most other things, human encroachment is the biggest threat. Human encroachment onto their territories. So fence lines going up, fragmenting the habitats, ranching, cattle overgrazing the land, competition with people.
Yep. So even though we're here in Michigan, is there anything that we can actually do for the guanacos, even though their population is not extinct, is not of a concern, but is there anything that we can do?
Yeah, it's just like a lot of other animals. The story is the same. Anything you can do to reduce your carbon footprint is going to help mitigate the effects of climate change and drought on their habitat. Also, just if you're going to purchase meat, try and find something that's sustainably raised. It's not harvested by way of clear cutting large amounts of habitat space for wild animals.
So we know that their habitat is pretty extensive here at the Detroit Zoo, but it's not just Ken the Guanaco that's actually in here. We have pronghorns, and we also have fallow deer, and then we also of course have some geese that will come visit and some peafowl. So tell us a little bit more about how they're able to actually cohabitate peacefully in the space.
Yeah, so the fallow deer and the pronghorn and the guanaco, they're all pretty subdued, unassuming animals. So you'll see them sharing the same space in close proximity. They don't necessarily make contact or interact with each other directly a whole lot. But there's plenty of space for everybody to kind of do their own thing and not have any issues.
And they don't have any issues with the Canada geese that come to visit them or eat their food?
I think they're just so used to it. They just have to watch where they step.
They just watch where they step. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Brian.
Sure,
we really appreciate your time, and we hope that you enjoyed this virtual vitamin Z. Always check on our Detroit Zoo's website for more doses, and then always make sure that you check at 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. We'll see you guys soon.